Liberty Prime may feel like a concept plopped into the Fallout universe, but the Transformers-looking addition to the series has a lengthy background worth exploring. I'm Mark from Digital Dissection, and today's Fallout story breaks down the known history of the pre-war robot that made an impact 200 years after its creation. It would make sense that a giant robot could be a plot thread within Fallout storytelling. After all, in a world where futuristic technology dominated so many industries and nations, it's not exactly a stretch. To some, however, Liberty Prime's introduction in Fallout 3 might feel shoehorned. But here are 9 facts behind the concept that prove there's much more thought put into the idea than you might think. Liberty Prime's initial purpose was born out of the Sino-American War, after the invasion of Alaska by Chinese forces in the Fallout universe. The United States Army sought an early solution, bringing together Robco Industries and General Atomics International to create the most powerful combat robot in the history of warfare. Contract 38917 would fund the Liberty Prime effort, with the joint collaboration beginning in 2072. By this point, the Sino-American War had already raged on for 6 years, and Prime's deployment in battle would hopefully reduce the cost of human life, at least for the United States. The development cycle of Liberty Prime would be a major issue, however, and the turning tide of the war would instead focus around T-51 power armor technologies instead. By this period, the Great War was already well on its way. Liberty Prime as a 40-foot-tall robot has a distinct physical advantage as a melee asset. It can destroy energy barriers, break down walls, and pick up incredibly heavy objects. Aside from these abilities, however, there are 2 main technologies. One of these involves physically throwing Mark 28 nuclear bombs at targets. This unique function was disclosed by pre-war General Constantine Chase, who helped initiate Prime's creation. He provided commentary within the project's development log.
The robot they create, Liberty Prime, will be the embodiment of American military might. A walking, talking, nuke-tossing hero who will remind the world what it means to be a superpower.
Aside from literally throwing payloads, Prime originally featured the head-mounted Liberty laser, similar to a Tesla cannon that shoots multiple beams and can eliminate several targets at once. Despite there being public and top-secret news about the Prime project, there was propaganda released detailing a possible rival robot created by the People's Liberation Army of China. The concept was labeled by the US government as a war machine, and images were created meant to influence the United States into creating Prime as fast as possible, before China's competing technology. Like almost all propaganda, however, the posters created about China's war machine were all entirely produced out of fear, instead being used as a means to showcase that despite the resource wars of the time, China could still be possible of generating such things. While the war machine would not end up being a real concept, power armor influenced by it was designed by artist Chris Ortega, and would go unused until Fallout 76. The country of origin for the armor technically has no true allegiance, but even without being stated, it's easy to see where the similarities are compared to the War Machine design, particularly the look of the power armor helmet and War Machine's eyes. Chinese power armor had been mentioned as early as 2002 in the Fallout Bible, and while War Machine has no in-game evidence of being developed, it seems reasonable to assume China explored advanced technologies around the Sino-American War. Liberty Prime was unfortunately met with a massive list of problems, as the government contractors involved met roadblocks at every turn. Initially, the Prime project seemed to be operating at a high level of efficiency, with its overall structure, weapon systems, and voice module standing up to expectations. One major issue, though, would loom over the entire project: its overall power source. The complexity of the Prime system meant combining many powerful technologies together, but with no previous applications to draw from as a means to power the robot efficiently, project lead Stanley Bloomfeld had no pre-developed solution that would meet all the parameters. Bloomfeld and the Prime team sought to leverage Vault-Tec as a partner, given the unique power needs of its vast underground networks to run properly. Initially, Vault-Tec thought that scientist Stanislaus Braun could offer his expertise to the power issues. Braun was head of future tech at the company, investigating top-secret and alien technologies. The group would also be responsible for the Garden of Eden Creation Kit, or GEC. Braun, however, would go into seclusion shortly before the war, causing Prime's development to come to a halt. Liberty Prime's power issues were so difficult to solve that the government would actually move the project beneath the Pentagon, where it would sit for almost 200 years until the Brotherhood of Steel sent a detachment from its West Coast faction. Elder Lyons and his team would arrive in the Capital Wasteland in 2255, and upon discovering Liberty Prime, chose to build their base of operations directly around these ruins. After fortifying the base, it would become known as the Citadel, with head scribe Rothschild responsible for bringing the robot online. Unfortunately for the Brotherhood, they'd become plagued by the same issues as the original Army contractors, struggling to bring its systems to be fully functional at any point. The AI that Liberty Prime was built on fought against Brotherhood efforts to bypass its security systems to reroute power, and in doing so fried circuitry that would need to be replaced. At best, the Brotherhood, after 20 years, was only able to achieve 46% power to internal processors, 45% to weapons, and 37% to power management systems. Frustrating given the fact that Prime could actually move and navigate terrain pre-war, but only while its weapons system was offline. Scientist Madison Li was the turning point for ultimately ensuring that Liberty Prime was able to fully function. Li's reluctance to work with the Brotherhood, however, initially stemmed from a brief partnership to bring Project Purity online, the water purification project that started before the events of Fallout 3. The Brotherhood of Steel offered to help protect the scientists who were working on the project, but when it fell apart, Li left for Rivet City and its growing science community, harboring some mistrust for her allies. During that time away, however, Li would spend a considerable amount of time understanding portable fusion power, and together with power management issues at Project Purity itself, possessed the right knowledge needed to finally address how to best manage Prime's distribution issues. Fortunately for the Brotherhood, they barely edged out the Enclave in terms of Madison Li's distrust, and without her, it's possible Liberty Prime is still stuck underneath the Citadel. For those unfamiliar with Broken Steel of Fallout 3, you may be confused to see Liberty Prime out of commission when first meeting the Brotherhood in Fallout 4. It was a valid thing to question if you'd never played the downloadable content, but in the wake of the Brotherhood defeating the Enclave at Project Purity, efforts to eradicate the remaining Enclave forces became a priority. The Brotherhood were able to track down radio transmissions from the remaining enemy forces at the Rockland Tunnel in the southwest Capital Wasteland, with a satellite relay station nearby. As Liberty Prime grew closer to the location, the Brotherhood dispatched light Enclave resistance, gaining closer to the satellite itself. By the time the Brotherhood realized no other Enclave forces remained, Prime picked up an incoming orbital strike, a deliberate trap. During the skirmish, the Bradley Hercules satellite had already sent several missiles directly at the giant robot, and while the on-foot Brotherhood soldiers were able to get far enough away, Liberty would be defeated and dismantled in the attack. An unfortunate end to the recently deployed asset, and for those who skipped the DLC, may have felt like a plot hole. Due to the events of Broken Steel, Liberty Prime sat idle for 10 years, until the Brotherhood discovered that the Institute and its synth technology could be tracked to the Boston Commonwealth. Due to this, a restoration effort began, led by Proctor Ingram at the orders of Arthur Maxson. Prime would be hooked to the Prydwen ship, specifically as a way to keep it online, but many issues needed to be resolved before it came anywhere close to being functional. One of the immediate issues was its fragile CPU, a poor design that was severely impacted by the Enclave's missile strike. Its complex power system that Li helped create also made this relationship hard to manage by Brotherhood scientists. Within the events of Fallout 4, part of a possible solution is redesigning its memory core, either by enlisting Madison Li again, who now affiliates with the Institute, or robotics expert Professor Skara of Diamond City. In addition to a few systems overhauls, Liberty Prime also sees a shift from hydraulic-powered limbs to magnetically controlled ones built with electromagnetic actuators for better functionality. Its dormant fusion reactor, however, for the last 10 years, would require an experimental beryllium agitator for mass fusion to restart. Oddly enough, beryllium is used in real-life nuclear reactions, and mass fusion developed the agitator around the same time as Liberty Prime's original creation, before the Great War. Prime still retained its ability to throw nuclear bombs at targets, but based on an alternate source of Mark 28 bombs in the Boston Commonwealth, compared to its original specifications, a redesign of its delivery method was required. Its Liberty laser also saw an upgrade, one that could be charged for a massive attack, being used to bore a large tunnel into the ground when the Brotherhood attacked the Institute. while Liberty Prime premiered in Fallout 3. The character of Robert House from Fallout New Vegas was essentially retconned into its history. House was founder and CEO of Robco Industries, one of Prime's contractors. He was a gifted creator who developed many leading technologies. Part of this would include a targeting system that kept most of the New Vegas area untouched when the nuclear bombs eventually fell in 2077. What caused questions to be asked about House's involvement with Liberty Prime hinges on a photo discovered at Camp Golf, the former House resort and golf course. The image shows House standing in front of a large robot, implying that he's been involved in the development of something resembling Liberty Prime, but perhaps not the exact final vision of the concept. Immediately, there's a difference between this unknown robot and Prime, as its feet and legs are not the same. But some have theorized that this concept is about 20 feet in length, making it about half the size of the final version of the robot. House became somewhat of a recluse in the years leading up to the bombs falling, to focus on his post-war survival. As CEO of Robco Industries, he had to be somewhat involved with Prime's creation, but it's a concept that may yet be explored within the larger Fallout universe. Ultimately, the photo is an homage to Howard Hughes, who strongly inspired the character, having a similar impact on the aviation industry, with a critically similar photo being taken of him in the 1940s. And with that, we've looked at 9 facts on Liberty Prime and its development within the Fallout series. Are there facts that we missed? Let us know in the comments. And for content just like this, check out the full Fallout Stories playlist linked here. And until next time, pop culture nerds, keep on dissecting. This is Mark signing off.